History it repeats itself in mysterious ways. And I'm just gonna say this: in a time of great technological advancement and things, I must say that my disappointment in humanity is at all not surprising. I'm the sort of person who grew up around people who themselves were criminals, and I myself was a criminal in my life. I experienced the criminal aspects of society, the corruption, more or less, of what is supposed to be. When you are trained to be a weapon, a minister of death praying for war, nobody cares. You know, you're sent to fight a war for nations, a democracy and republic that cares for you. It kind of reminds me of the Roman kingdom and the Roman republic back in the day, right? And they had different ideologies relating to their nation. While today, most people preach about the world and how the world is dying. Everybody has a preference. Back in the day, back in the old days, it was about preference of the color of the skin, sexuality, or your sexual preference, your political views. Wherever the fuck you are from, it does not really interest me. Wherever the fuck the color of your skin is, it does not interest me. If you claim you're a transgender, if you claim you're a person that has replaced your cock with a pussy and vice versa, I consider that as if you got a whole tattoo or piercing. When you are drafted into the military, all they care for you is your service to your home and country, your particular set of skills that you have honed throughout your time in service, which make you a nightmare to all unidentified and identified life forms out there. Your governments don't give a shit about you. It has been proven in the past. And it's been proven that in the times of the Old Kingdom, such as the Roman Kingdom and the Roman Republic, that it mirrors the kingdoms of today. It mirrors Germany back in the days of World War One. It mirrors the United Kingdom back in the days of its imperialism. It mirrors republics and democracies that claim that a group of people is better than one. And sometimes we think about it, is it better truly that one leader leads the entire nation, or that several people lead the entire nation? If you give it some deep thought, you will say, it's better if we have a democracy, a republic of peoples who decide and say, it is better to lead our nation. Together they cast a vote, like in the Roman Republic. But if time has ever proven again, it doesn't matter if there are several people in a Senate describing right from wrong, let's vote the motion or veto the motion. That doesn't matter. A guy walks in with his military, there's no room in his heart for you. There's no love. The only room in your heart for every soldier, including, is in the Mother Earth, for your Mother Earth, wherever the hell your Mother Earth is and stationed currently, whether it be Russia, whether it be Canada, whether it be Great Britain tomorrow, it does not matter. The point being is, National Socialism was a form of imperialistic rule. And they tried to mirror the Roman Empire. They wanted to expand to the point that they copied most of the typical trends of the Roman Empire and expand, across the entire world. Many people will wave their flags, think that the Nazis that National Socialists were corrupted, that their history was falsified. They will try to convince you that their history was falsified. And while things get worse in the democracy and republic of today, and they're really, really bad, there is no true leader in democracy and republic. There's no true leader in a communist country where there is a head of state that rules everything. The reason for that is that every level of infrastructure around the world has been corrupted to some point. Media, the military, including the medical facilities, medical units, scientific units, every single one of them are now divided into millions of factions that do not focus on unifying a country or a people together in a common motivation against a common goal. They are hypocrites, parasites that keep the cogwheels of a society churning. All of you here are part of a different set of cogs that help a particular set of different wheels churn, run by, bounty hunters and mercenaries that keep on going to places such as Afghanistan, the other places forgotten around the world, where they sell your military arms to the enemy for profit so they can enrich themselves and to also spread another war. All the while, when people start waking up and realizing the bullshit that's going on, they distract you. This is the only time that the media and the military unify. The military says, I want this done, and the media says, yes, sir. Corporations have more power than the government, and they always will have more power than the government. Whatever these things exist in the world, among the republic and democracies, they no longer represent democracy itself, or republics, freedom of expression, or equality. All we care for is money and a means to live through equity day after day with our minimum wage. Those among us that have clearly given you up have sent you in order to thin out the numbers of our population by telling you that this whole big thing is worse than the Black Plague that struck Great Britain back in the day. I can tell you right now, as a person who hasn't been vaccinated once, who has seen and would bore witness to many people infected by COVID, that the vaccination process of, telling you to vaccinate yourself is all a lie and bullshit. All it is meant for, and what it is meant for, is to somehow affect your bloodstream to the point that the population of this world, the surplus population, the people in general, the seeds that they pass on to continue on their next generation, will have a huge change. Now, before you tell me that's impossible, we as a species cannot change because somebody implemented in us with a vaccine that claims to help us. Well, I would agree with you there, but there's an issue. Milk itself has changed us in a way. If we look back to the history, back in the time of World War II and I, people were a lot smaller compared to the people today. People us today have evolved into giants. And the more the time passes, the more we will become giants. And the taller we get, the less our time on this planet will be. The taller you become as a person, your lifespan will become shorter. Therefore, milk is a dangerous thing to consume in higher doses. And so when vegetarians go to consume things, I'm not saying their diet is the best. It's not, for other particular reasons. But what the lesson here is, don't think about what they tell you is best for you. Your governments don't love you and they never will love you. They never will. They will gladly send you to your deaths because you're just another number to them that doesn't add up in their eyes while your world is slowly dying. They don't wish to continue your worthless existence. They are simply a union of people that need to make money. They can't be bought, reasoned, bullied, or negotiated with. They won't. There is no one who is your last line of defense. And the only time they will be your last line of defense is when they provoke war with somebody else, bring them into the fold, and then when war starts, they will reward you and tell you, you can have anything you want as long as you die for us. Such was the fate of the Roman Republic until the Roman Empire. And when the Roman Empire came to be, which will happen soon in this world, another empire will rise and will try to spread across the world, whether it be China, whether it be Russia, whether it be anyone. It won't be Russia though. It might be, but it might not be. People are seeking right now, and for some strange reason right now, they are seeking to revert to the past instead of remembering what happened during World War I and II. They do not know who to trust anymore with false or truthful information. They do not know what to think anymore. When you go on television, when you go in schools, teachers are teaching people of equity and to wave the rainbow flag. Some children who are 13 now are turning forward, walking forward, and saying, I'm not sure if I was born the right gender. This is not the media to blame. This is not the fucking people to blame that are spreading, oh, transgender shit is good. No. This is the parents to blame. The parents themselves who would rather drink, spend millions of times rather on gaming or drunk or outside having fun rather than raising their child properly. When their child is outside somewhere and disappears, gets kidnapped by someone, or, just disappears on their own, or grows up to hate their parents and spoil to the point that they don't get hit, it's the parents to blame. The only thing the government is blamed for here at this point is that the fact that you can actually arrest a parent for hitting his own child. As a European raised child and person, I'm alright with you beating your child. Please beat your child some more. Especially if that child is a son of a bitch that hurts other people, insults other people, or doesn't know his place out of respect, or when he believes that the people from World War I and II have died for nothing, for instance. The truth is that people in World War I and II, some of them died for nothing. Truly. Like you were put in a gulag, you died for nothing. Stalin just wanted you killed. There's truth there. But the people who sacrificed themselves in World War II wanted an end to all worlds. And the reasons that at the 1950s to the years 1990 to maybe to the year 2000s were the best was because people were happy, awakened. They were joyous that the horrible past is behind them. And for some reason, anything after the year 2000 just began to become worse and worse and worse. That's because the media and other social forums out there have gotten to the point that they do not know what they want anymore with their lives. Neither does humanity. People no longer go outside to theaters. They do not play on the streets. They do not meet up in music shops. They do not meet up in places where music places have thrived. Not now! Anyway, they have not thrived, and they have not been. Sorry, let me rephrase that because people interrupted. Back in the day, people met up in places such as clubs, jazz clubs, clubs where they sold, cassettes and other things from music, right? They met at music stores, and bands were able to form. A special bond was able to be formed where artists rose up, and we had the greatest metal bands and rock bands in the world. Places where artists gathered also to paint their things on paper, such as schools, existed back in the day. Theaters were mainly a lot common on the streets. Public theaters where people could play in state and play stages where they could act their hearts out, and people would notice them, and these actors would go on to star in Hollywood because of their talent, because they impress the people, because the people inspire them. Today there's no inspiration whatsoever. Today there's no social gathering. The COVID-19 bullshit makes it even worse. COVID-19 is just an excuse to divide the people more, to test whether or not they're afraid or not. And they are. They're very afraid. But it also shows that the human intelligence has digressed to the point that it is beyond salvation and it's beyond recovery. In the following years that will follow, things will only continue to regress and get worse. Worse and worse and worse and worse to the boiling point until a war breaks out, until people start to die, until a sudden nuclear bomb drops, until certain places in the world begin to run out of their natural resources and they begin attacking other countries. It's happening everywhere. The media will never share that though. Nobody will. And those who do, they will be silenced by platforms that people watch and turn to for information instead of getting this information for themselves. Unfortunately, not all people are like this. I mean, that's fortunate. That's fortunately, sorry. But unfortunately, the majority aren't like those people who will look at the information, get proof behind the information, and actually think for themselves. We live in a time where people do not think about themselves. All they think about is this racial thing, about the color of the skin, that your race is highly, elevated upon the others. It's funny. It's really hilarious. It's kind of like a joke, a real funny joke. Because back in the day, we fought against racism. Back in the day, we knew what our gender was, man or woman. Today, we are confused what gender we are because people are telling us that our gender is, that we were born and we have the right to choose our gender. We do have the right to choose whatever gender we want, sure. But no matter what you are born, no matter where you are from, where you hail from, when you first come out of the womb, you're either man or woman. Whatever you get as a tattoo, a piercing, doesn't matter. You're still the human you were born. It will always say that on your birth certificate. And while you can change that and identify yourself even as a fucking dog, which makes no goddamn sense, by the way, it makes me appreciate that the animals themselves, that they know who the hell they are, while we humans don't. For all the intelligence we have in this world, it's funny that we now identify ourselves as nothing more but beasts. And we bigot upon ourselves, and we're hypocrites among ourselves, and that only thing matters to us in this world is money, and money, and money. And as things get worse, as our taxes get higher, as we're unable to afford things, certain things like fruits, like bananas and other things, will die out to the point of extinction, and they will be replaced by more factory-made stuff. The reason why Europe doesn't love the West too much is because the West itself is all confused about genders. The reason the West doesn't like Europe is because of just another excuse of why they're bad while they themselves are getting worse. They're jealous. Things are not going well at all across the world. And I don't care whether you're European, a Westerner, a Mexican, Spanish, whatever the fuck you identify yourself as. Wherever you are out there, I hope you think for yourselves and that you do not believe the bullshit that the media has spoon out for you. And I want you to think about it. Has there ever been a time where you have trusted your government? Even back in the old days and even in the current days now. Has there ever been a time where you wonder, why are taxes like this? Why I can't afford this? Why can't I afford that? Why everyone in America is fat and dying almost? Why Biden is a stupid president? Why does political news across from one country in the middle of fucking nowhere appear all over your media in a country that has no relation to the other one, while your country is going and becoming 10 times worse? Unaffordable housing, unaffordable living care, the medical facility is becoming worse, people dying in the hospitals, unprofessional staff manning them in most places, while those that are professional are begging for a revolution or something that will help them in advancement to actually save their people. We donate our things for this LGBTQ shit and rainbow shit and other shit that's totally unrelated to what we need right now. Like our planet. We need our planet, for instance. Unfortunately, no one will listen to reason. No one will actually think and say, this person is right. Or, maybe I should get out more. Maybe I should leave my PC behind. Maybe I will build a creek. Or, maybe I'll drive down to the end of the block. Maybe I will gather with a group of people in a park, even though there are cops outside. We, as humanity, have become too afraid of each other, of ourselves. We don't trust each other. We prefer isolation over communication. This is how you know that a republic, a democracy, a kingdom, an empire fails. When the masses are so divided, so heartless, so soulless that the only thing they care about is living another day, having money in one hand. But those who actually think will find happiness from all of this. Somehow, they will try to live out their days in peace. They will not care about cultural revolution or revolution. They're satisfied with what they have. Some even live on the road, enjoy the long rides among the beaches, among the seasides, parks. Some live outside on streets and couldn't ask for anything more. They don't care about money. That's good. They found a way to live off the land of nature, of Mother Earth and what it has provided for you. And while we're slowly dying, while things are getting worse, and while everything is just turning out stranger throughout time, I want to go, and 20 years from now, open this video when I'm 20 years older. Maybe I'll be dead. But I want to see, back in the future, what will be different from now. And I already know. More structures, more buildings, more contracts that make buildings that are much uglier, less places to socialize, more corporate things risen all over the place, barely any little thing for the working man. Small businesses are already closed and they will continue to close. COVID-19 and this excuse for a disease has destroyed everything on the planet. We've already destroyed ourselves as it is, but COVID just laid the foundations of ensuring that you are killed, that you are dead, that no body has to be disposed, no evidence has to be snugged under the carpet. I pray for this planet. I pray for humanity as a whole. I pray that we find ourselves. I wish you good luck, wherever you are out there, whoever you might be. Good luck for what is to come in the next 15 years. Will be one of the most terrifying moments in our life. I cannot even beg to differ. Slowly and slowly, that passion, that panache, those emotions will become even more dull, heartless. The movies right now pale in comparison to how worse they will become in the future. And the little movies that appear will usually be all about society's issues and infrastructure, which is tiring on its own as it is. I wish you good luck. And please, for the love of God, stop restricting yourselves. Be free to say things like niggers, crackers, and whatever the fuck you want. Because no matter what you say nowadays, anywhere you go, you will always offend somebody. Always. And that's it. That's all I want to say. Let your voices be heard, and good luck in the next decade. Have fun. It's gonna be one hell of a ride.